Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the world of House of the Dragon, specifically the recent revelations from showrunner Ryan Condal about the upcoming seasons and the series finale. But this isn't just a recap, it's a commentary-driven analysis, so buckle up. First off, let's talk about the hook. Condal confirmed that the show will end with its fourth season. Personally, I think this is a bold move. In an era where shows often drag on, ending a massive franchise like this in just 4 seasons feels almost revolutionary. But here's the thing, it's not just about wrapping up a story, it's about landing the plane, as Condal puts it. And that's where things get tricky. What makes this really interesting is the pressure of crafting a finale that satisfies both the narrative and the fans. Condal mentions the challenge of making a finale that's all things to all people, and I couldn't agree more. Think about Game of Thrones, its finale was divisive, to say the least. So, how does House of the Dragon avoid that fate? In my opinion, it's by focusing on the core story, the dance of the dragons, and dropping the curtain at the right moment. But here's the catch, the book, Fire and Blood, spans decades. So, where do you end it? That's the million-dollar question. Now, let's talk about character arcs, because this is where the show shines, and struggles. Take Ormond Hightower, for example. In the book, he's a sketch of a military leader, but the show gives him depth, religious fanaticism, sensory issues, rage problems. What this really suggests is that adaptations can breathe new life into characters, but it also raises a deeper question: how much should you deviate from the source material? Personally, I think the show strikes a balance here. Ormond's expanded role feels Thrones-y, as Condal puts it, and it adds layers to the narrative. Another character that stands out is Ulf, the dragon rider who burns Tumbleton. What many people don't realize is that Ulf's arc is a commentary on the systemic failures of the Targaryen dynasty. He's not just a villain, he's a product of broken promises and a feudal system that exploits people. If you take a step back and think about it, Ulf's story is a microcosm of the larger themes of the show: power, betrayal, and the cost of ambition. It's horrifying, but it's also completely credible. Now, let's talk about Rhaenyra and Daenerys, because the parallels are impossible to ignore. Both are dragon queens fighting for legitimacy, and both face tragic ends. But here's where it gets fascinating: Rhaenyra's descent into tyranny feels more earned, more gradual. Daenerys' turn in Game of Thrones felt rushed, but Rhaenyra's is a slow burn. This raises a deeper question: does House of the Dragon learn from the mistakes of its predecessor? I think it does, but it's also walking a tightrope. After all, these are connected stories, and the echoes of Daenerys' arc are intentional. One thing that immediately stands out is Helena's death. Condal mentions how gutting it was to write and film, and I have to say, it's one of the most tragic moments in the show. Helena is this innocent, almost otherworldly character, and her death feels like a punch to the gut. What this really suggests is that the show isn't afraid to go dark, to explore the brutal consequences of the Game of Thrones. But it also makes me wonder, how much tragedy can the audience take before it becomes numbing? Finally, let's talk about Aegon's underdog arc. Tom Glencarney's performance is a standout, and Condal's right, you find yourself rooting for Aegon, despite his flaws. This is where the show excels, making you care about characters you shouldn't. But it also raises a broader perspective: what does it say about us as viewers that we're drawn to these morally ambiguous figures? Is it the complexity, or is it something deeper? In closing, House of the Dragon is shaping up to be a show that's not just about dragons and battles, it's about the human cost of power. The finale will be scrutinized, no doubt, but if Condal and his team can stick the landing, it could be one of the most satisfying endings in TV history. Personally, I'm cautiously optimistic. What about you? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives like this. Thanks for watching.